Hi, my name is Sarah Federman, founder of LanguageOfConflict.com and a graduate of the doctoral program at the School for Conflict Analysis and Resolution at George Mason University. I wanted to share with you a concept to help you with a lot of the difficult political dialogues many of you have been having at home and on social media. It's a technique that I taught at the University of Malta to master's students this fall, as well as master's students at the Conflict and Development program at Sciences Po Lille in France. And also something I talked to a little bit with Common Bond, which is a group of young people 18 to 25 who lost a parent to terrorism around the world. So this is a concept I've been sharing with a number of groups, and it's very timely, so no reason to keep it all to myself. The concept is called double listening. What double listening allows you to do is when you're in a heated political or any kind of debate conversation is to turn it into a more productive conversation. So what double listening does is it allows you to take it from a negative when people say, I don't want this, I don't want that person, I don't like this, and switch it into a frame where we can actually do some productive work. So let's say, for example, someone says, I don't want Donald Trump to be president. Then you say, what is it that you do want? And then they say what they do want, and then why. And what this does is it gets us into a conversation. One, it breaks us off the kind of the laziness of just complaining about what's not right and forces us into a more creative conversation where we're having to imagine and describe what is the kind of society we want? How do we want to live? How do we want people to treat one another? We really need to take the time to articulate what that looks like. Otherwise, we're just living in response to what we don't want, and that's very limiting. So the why is also very important. So the why gets to what Bandler calls from the surface structure down to the deep structure. So a surface structure comment is, I don't like this candidate, or I don't like this group of people. It's very surface. It's very thin. There's not a lot to it. But if you want to get underneath to understand why people are saying that, what is it that they're afraid of? What do they really hope to see? And the why questions help you do that. So this requires letting go of your own desire to be right, to throw back a bunch of facts, and to really understand why people are saying what they're saying. And usually the reasons under there have to do with feelings of insecurity, feelings of doubt, a want for a better world. Many people want the same thing but have very different ways of going about it. But when you're just focused on your tactics and your approaches to get to where you want, you often just feel divided and go head to head. So with double listening, asking people what they actually do want, not sarcastically, well, so what do you do want? You're just complaining. Don't say it that way. That's very off-putting. But actually being curious what people do want and asking why helps us get to the deeper conversations of why do people feel insecure? What is maybe missing from our culture? What are we not seeing? And then we can find our connections with one another. We may have great disagreements over how we think we should get there, but we can have different kinds of conversations if we can get to why people are saying what they're saying. But it also it requires some discovery. We don't always know why we want what we want. This is what William Ury discovered in his later books after getting to Yes. In the beginning, we thought negotiation was just knowing your interests, going in and fighting for them and trying to find a way to meet them and help other people meet theirs, maybe. But as we now know, there's a lot that we don't know about why we want what we want, which is why his recent book is called Getting to Yes with Yourself, is so that we do that internal exploration. So I encourage you to do that, but also to help other people do theirs by helping them articulate what it is that they do want. One of the funny things about hate speech is it's very brash and it can be very abrupt. But it's not actually very deep. I mean, it's not very rich in terms of its logic. So while it can take us aback, when we can ask some of these deeper questions, we can help people think it through a little bit more. So I just want to invite you to give those a try. I'm on my way to Brazil to do a little more work this next month. But want to leave this with you so that people can be out there starting to have some better conversations. We have a lot of work to do in this country and the world to do that. So again, double listening is just a way when you hear people articulate what it is they're not wanting for the world to help them articulate what it is they do want and help them say why they want it. And this also helps them connect to really what they want. So you can also do this with yourself before you get involved in some of these fights. What is it that you do want and why do you want it? And You know, we're seeing families get torn apart. I mean, I just heard a colleague said in her interpersonal conflict class, an engagement was broken off because of politics. I just gave a talk down in Richmond, Virginia, where people are saying the divides in their family are bigger than they've seen, you know, really in that area since the Civil War. I don't even know if Vietnam was this deep within families. I suspect it was. But so we're having some real family divides. People are getting pulled apart by this. And I want to offer some techniques that we know from the field of conflict resolution that can help us lean in to one another, because we really don't want to be alienating each other and our families and our loved ones. Vivian Jabri is a scholar who talks about war really being the expression of inclusion and exclusion. You know, people who feel excluded and excluded groups often erupt in violent ways or in angry ways. So to create more of a barrier between us is really not going to help us going forward. So please give it a try. Please put your comments below. I would love to hear how this goes for you. And again, just a word of caution, do not do it with sarcasm. And the goal is not to be right and to win this argument. The idea is to understand what it is people do want and why they're wanting it, and then from there having a much deeper conversation, like from the deep structure of how people see the world, and work on that. Thank you for listening, and please, if you put your information in languageofconflict.com on my website, I can send you updates and videos and other things that I'm doing that I hope will help you with your conversations at home, in the workplace, and if you're working on international conflict for sure. So thank you, and take care. Bye.